know back-to-school jitters are normal, but for many children, that anxiety can be paralyzing. Here to help us help our kids deal with their fears is counselor Chris McCarthy from Carolina's Counseling Group. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming today to talk about this.
Thank you.
You know, I mentioned a lot of kids have back-to-school jitters.
Yep.
What are some ways that anxiety can sort of present itself in kids as they're headed back to school?
Well, anxiety is made up of three components. We have the irrational thoughts, the uncomfortable feelings, and then the dysfunctional coping behaviors. So if we think of irrational thoughts, this child will think thoughts like, my teacher won't like me, you know, the other kids are going to reject me, you know, what if somebody throws up in the cafeteria, that's going to be so gross. So they just dwell on these anxious thoughts, and then that gets them going with the uncomfortable body feelings. Feelings of upset stomach, maybe backaches or headaches, you know, sweaty palms, stuff like that, and they don't like that. I mean, what person does like that? That makes them very uncomfortable. So then they implement coping behaviors, which unfortunately for them are dysfunctional. And the two most common dysfunctional coping behaviors is avoidance and control. They either want to totally stay away from the situation, so Mom, I don't want to go to school, you know, no way I'm going today, or they're very controlling, you know, I only want to sit next to Johnny in class, or I don't want to go to the cafeteria to eat. And so it's those three things that combine to make it very difficult for them, and then you as a parent really start to hear it, and then you may get anxious yourself too.
It can be very challenging, yes. So how do you know when your child's anxiety is sort of normal, you know, just normal fears? Right. How do you know if it's that or if it's, oh, we need some help now, or this is a little bit more severe?
Right. Well, typically three things once again. Number one, is it age appropriate? You know, to a kindergartner to maybe a first grader, are they going to be a little nervous going to school at the start of school? Sure, that's pretty normal. But typically speaking, you get them going, get them into their class, and that typically resolves fairly quickly. So, but if that same child now is 4th, 5th grade, and they're still having such difficulties going to school, then maybe we have a problem. Another thing to look at is how strong those emotional reactions are. I mean, if they don't seem to calm down once they get to school, you know, the teacher takes them into class and a half hour later they're still very upset, then maybe this is more serious than just a normal fear. And then lastly, is it messing up their functioning, meaning their ability to finish school or do school, their ability to focus in class, their ability to go to birthday parties or other functions that they're invited to. You know, if the anxiety gets bad, they'll stop doing all those things and really resist, once again, avoid and control those types of things.
So if it's complete freak out, like crying for a long time,
that's right.
We're now a month into school, that kind of
right.
thing, you know, that's a little severe.
Right, the grades are going down, they're missing too much.
Okay,
right.
So with that information and knowing these things, what as parents can we do to help our children? If we notice these behaviors in our kids, what can we do for them?
Well, let's focus on separation anxiety since kids are going back to school right now. And separation anxiety is they don't want to separate from the parent and they're afraid. So the best thing to do is get them familiar with the environment they're going to. So this happens especially with young kids. So I would suggest, you know, taking them down to the school, walking them all over the school. This is where the cafeteria is. This is where your classroom is. Have them meet the teacher and tell the teacher that, yes, my child gets quite anxious. And so typically, this is nothing new for schools. They're used to this. So the teacher will, you know, hopefully bond with that child, you know, make that child feel very comfortable. You know, maybe they can go to the school with a friend, you know, and kind of walk around the campus with a friend.
And usually, you're right, teachers are used to dealing with this kind of thing. They're always so nice. And if you explain to somebody, look, my kid is really having anxious feelings about coming to school, they're usually more than happy to meet with you ahead of time.
They really are. And they're very much used to this. And that's the second thing to do is to formulate a plan with them. You know, maybe they can come out to the car and take your child in so that you don't get that resistance at the car. You know, or maybe there's a plan if the child needs to take a break, go get something to drink during class, go to the restroom, then the child just raises their hand, the teacher automatically knows what's going on, and the child can leave without any scene, you know. Another thing to do with young kids is maybe have them bring a photo of the family to class so they can pull it out and just look at it, maybe a little stuffed animal. So basically, it's just helping that child get comfortable with the new situation, and that's what the way anxiety is. With anxiety, you have to build up tolerance to the thing that you fear. So we're just helping the child build up that tolerance.
And then have more positive experiences, too. That seems to help.
Yes.
Another thing, Chris knows what he's talking about here. He's created a program, along with one of his colleagues, to help anxious children. It's called Turn Around, Turning Fear into Freedom. Turn Around. It's a series of workbooks and CDs that you can listen to.
Right.
And this is another tool. You can get it by going to my myanxiouschild.com.
Right.
myanxiouschild.com. And parents of anxious children, I think this could be the answer to your prayers, because there's a lot of great information in there. It's a series of CDs, and you have different characters that the kids can relate to.
It's an audio adventure that's professional and very kid-friendly, and the child listens to basically 10 lessons, or we call them days, because basically the storyline is 6 anxious kids go on a 10-day hiking trip with 2 professionals and a teenage mentor, and each day they learn lessons about how to overcome their anxiety. So they listen to the CD for 20 or 30 minutes each day, and then they just do the workbook that takes about 10 minutes, and we really have seen great results. Kids are really benefiting from it. And the key that's so wonderful about this program is it's really geared towards children. You know, we hired 14 child actors locally here from Charlotte, 5 adult actors to play animated characters. And so the kids laugh through it, but they're also learning and they're growing and they're really, you know, getting through their anxieties by the techniques we teach them.
And helping them deal with those feelings quickly. Is it important for parents to really be patient with these kinds of children who might show really anxious feelings? How important is that?
Yeah, you bet. I mean, it's very hard on the parents as well to see their child suffer. So yes, patience, understanding. It's really important for the parent to educate themselves. In this series, we offer 2 discs loaded with information for parents to help them. So yeah, that's a very important component.
Okay, Chris McCarthy from Carolina's Counseling Group, thank you so much. MyAnxiousChild.com is the website to get turned around. Thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.